Hello there and welcome to another Simon Shed video, and today in my shed I'm going to share a few Z21 tips. Now the Z21 Roco Fleischmann controller is what I use to control my layouts. I've been using it for a while now, and looking at the review video, it is one of my most popular videos, so I thought it'd be a good idea to show you a few tips on actually using the Z21 and the Z21 apps. Number one, the easy way to update the Z21 firmware. So every now and again the firmware, the code on the actual box itself, the Z21, they release an update. And it's a good idea to install that because it fixes problems and it can add new features. So the easy way to do that is you have to get an Android device because it doesn't work on iOS. Possibly because it's too difficult to do on iOS, or the iOS is a bit more locked down than Android in terms of what you can actually do as a programmer, so there's probably a very good reason why this is Android only. But get your Android device, borrow an Android device if you haven't got one, search for Z21. You'll notice, as well as the main control app, there's also the Z21 updater. So if it's not installed, just install it there. This is just from the Google Play Store. We've already got it installed, so we will open it, and you just pop in your IP address of your Z21, and obviously make sure it tells you the default there. I've changed mine just because I needed to reconfigure it to work with my other router in the house. Okay, and obviously the Z21 is switched on, and it's telling me that it has firmware 1.27. So obviously we're all up to date here, but if we did need to do update, obviously that button would be ungrayed, and it literally takes a minute or two, and it just restarts the box and away you go. 2. Backup. I really highly recommend backing up your settings and locos and everything from the iPad. So in here, for example, I've got these locos configured. But what took more time was configuring all of the sort of track controls, so I wouldn't want to have to do all that again. So simply by going into export and selecting the layout, you can send an email to yourself which contains a little file with all of the settings. So if the worst does happen and you were to whether the iPad breaks or gets stolen or some other catastrophe, you can just go to your email and search for Z21 configuration and just import the backup. Now, of course, all that's all well and good, but if the worst does happen, how do you restore it? So here is the email, and we're just going to save the .z21 file. So what you do is, if you go into iTunes, you select the device that you want to restore to. You go into apps and you go right to the bottom and you'll see file sharing, and the Z21 app has file sharing enabled, which means we should be able to whack a file into there. Now all you have to do is sync to the iPad or the iPhone, and then go back into the import menu. Okay, for the restore, I've just learnt something I didn't actually know. So you don't need to bother with the syncing bit, you just drop the file in there. You can see I've dropped the z21 file from the email in. However, when I went to import, we've only got 2 files there and 1 file there. So this is worth knowing. It doesn't recognize it unless you rename it to .zip. So that file that you emailed to yourself is actually a zip file. So if we were to change that .z21 file to, for example, svrestore.zip, go back to here, go back and then forward again, we can now see we've got 3 files including the z21 restore. So you don't have to bother syncing the iPad, you just change it to, it has to be a zip file for it to recognize it, and then if we just tap on it, let's call it restored, and it's done it there, so presumably it's selected that as the current, and we've got all of our locos. It includes the pictures and the track controls and everything, because if you have a look at that zip file, this is actually one of the .z21 files. If you stick it on your desktop and rename it to .zip and open it, you can see all of the files. So there's my control background and all my loco pictures. So that's definitely worth knowing. And a load of XML data, which is presumably all of the settings. So that's backup and restore. 3, related to backing up your data, is if you've been using it on one device and then somebody else comes along and wants to play trains with you, like Oliver often does with me, and Harry too, what we have to do is get a new device set up with all the trains and track controls from here. So we do that in the same way as backing up, which is to go to export, and we'll restore it onto this iPhone. Let's have a look. So I've got the Z21 app, and I've just gone into settings, and here to show that we've just got this default My Model railroad layout set up at the moment. So all we do is choose the one to export, and this time we go iPhone to iPhone, and now it's searching for devices, so we need to say settings import iPhone to iPhone, shared valley railway, import, and now you can see on the list an iPhone appears, so we tap it, successfully sent, successfully received. So now everything that was on here is on the iPhone. You can use all of the track controls, and all of the locos will be set up in the same way, so you can now play trains with friends. Quick bonus tip, which I just noticed and I thought was rather cool. If we go into app settings, no, Z21 settings, sorry, we can actually see what it thinks is the current consumption. So if we get Tornado going here, we can see the current consumption go up. So I know when I was setting all this up, this layout, I did wonder whether I needed to buy a sort of booster. So this is good information towards that in terms of how much current is actually being used. Yeah, and obviously that sort of 60 milliamps, I guess, is the sort of point motor draw, perhaps. maybe something I need to investigate there, whether it should actually be drawing that at idle, but just thought that was a useful bit of information to share. And while I'm on this screen, unless you definitely know that you need rail comp, I would turn it off because it has interfered with programming my point motors in the past. So yeah, if you are having problems, try turning railcom off, unless obviously you know that you're using railcom devices that need that. Number 5 we shall call I've started a new layout but all my trains have disappeared. I experienced this myself when obviously I've got Bodden Woods, my old layout, but when I added a new layout, which we'll just call new test for now, so that is now the sort of active layout. We go into here and there's no locos set up. So obviously I wanted to use all the locos I've used on Bodden Woods on the new layout and be able to run those. So how do we get around that? Well, it's actually very simple as long as you remember to do it right at the start, and that is, instead of adding a new layout, what we do is, as I showed you in tip number 3, we can send them to another device, and by sending them back with a different name we can actually start our new layout with all the locos from the old one. So if we were to go to here and export this back, whoops. If I was to start a brand new layout, I would send it back, and we can see now, if we go into here, we've got everything as it was before. In fact, we can get rid of that one. We've now got brand new, and that's selected, and if we now go into rail vehicles, we've got everything from our old layout. So there we are, just a few quick tips on the Z21 system. I'm still very much enjoying using it and using the software. If you have a Z21 and you have any more tips that you would like to share, just whack them in the comments below, and yeah, we can all learn from each other's advice. So thanks very much for watching. I'll see you soon.